also have a number of other things I can talk about. Today's Edison's birthday, apparently, and this one website has a to-do list that he had when he was like 40. It was like things to invent. It was like the cotton picker, the new standard phonograph. It was like all this stuff.
Things to invent?
Yeah.
Wow, I need to really be more ambitious.
Is this mine? Yeah. Okay. That's what you have?
It's not poison.
Yes, that's just water.
Might
All
be
right.
poison.
Are we ready?
I think so.
Oh, sugar jump.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Welcome to episode 8 of On the Run with your editorial team. I'm Dylan, and as always, I'm with Josh and Chelsea. You have to excuse me this week. I have a bit of a bug.
Everybody.
Ew.
I have one too.
Continuing.
You're in an unfortunate spot there.
I'm going to do a quick update, thank you, Josh.
Yep.
On our website. I have to gather all the information in my brain. We are like on the last step of restoring it to where it was prior to our crash. After the website crashed almost 2 weeks ago now, we lost the files on the server as well as the domain name. All that's been restored. It's just a matter of reestablishing the website to where it was the day it crashed. That means bringing back in all the stories and re-uploading all the graphics and all the customizations on the site. We do have a WordPress expert working on that right now, so we hope by midweek this week we will have a functioning website again. It's just a matter of if we can get if we can get our archive back up and running, and that's mainly what we're waiting on right now. So we are still working on that, and I think we're pretty close to being a fully functioning site again, and that would be very nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Would be very nice.
So we
On the
are.
right side, we have a lot of rainy day stories backed up.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a.
Surplus of
Which we didn't
articles.
Okay. So and then next week we do have some exciting things happening. Even though the website's been down, we've still been working. Next week we're going to start recording video packages. We're working with a class. I forget which class it is. It's with Professor Rome. I believe it's an undergraduate class. But they do post-editing, so we're going to record about 6 interviews for that class, and they're going to do a professional editing on it, and then we'll have those as well for our archive. So we're building out a kind of a rainy day, like Chelsea said, archive. And those interviews start next week. So if you are interested in conducting interviews for the Daily Runner, get in contact with us. We start recording those next week, and we'll be doing 2 a week for the next 3 weeks. So that's kind of what's happening around here. And as you can see on our video, we are wearing our shirts. Shirts finally came in. The rest of the setup for the newsroom is stuck in Maryland due to snow, but it should be here for tomorrow. So we're making a lot of progress.
Snow is just ruining our
Nice.
lives.
At least we're not in Atlanta.
True.
Okay.
We wouldn't know what to do.
That would just. I have a hard time. I got that from Minnesota, so I guess I shouldn't say anything.
Yeah.
It's true.
Should we talk about the Olympics?
That is going on, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's quite happening.
Yeah. Kind of a big deal.
If you're into that sort of
If
thing.
you're into that.
Have you watched any of it yet?
I have. I watched speed skating yesterday and the moguls. You know, where they go down.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? That's like the hilly slope with the skis.
Okay, yeah.
That looks really
Like
hard on your
the
knees.
Long distance. Oh no, that's when they go down.
You go
the
down
hill.
and it's like bumpy. It looks horrible.
Yeah.
A lot of them look.
Looks
Really
terrible.
painful.
My roommates have been like obsessed. So every time I walk into the house, it's on the TV, and every time I walk in, I'm just like, that looks like a really dangerous activity.
All of it looks dangerous.
That's
Except
I'll-
curling.
Curling.
Does not look
Yeah,
very
Well, that
dangerous.
figure skating.
Figure
which-
skating might be dangerous, you know.
Well,
You cut somebody with your blade.
same with curling then.
I don't think they wear pretty sure they're on
I mean, they were.
shoes. I don't know.
I don't know either.
We're really
No,
knowledgeable about this stuff.
Okay, when the guy from Conan, what's his name?
Andy Richter.
Did
Uh-huh.
you watch him?
Uh-uh.
It was funny. He wasn't
Oh,
on
yeah.
stage, so
I'm
just
from
assuming-
northern Minnesota, so curling is actually a big deal.
Which you
It's
wouldn't know because you
so
didn't watch that
funny to
podcast
watch.
me and Dylan did.
Ah, that's right.
I did not watch it.
So.
Never gonna watch it.
Moving on.
No.
So we talked about the slush and mush.
Mhm.
Yeah. I want to be
I
in
just think
Sochi
it's
right
so
now.
So we talk about, okay, so for those of you who don't know, Sochi, is that how you say it? Sochi? However you say it, Sochi is actually one of Russia's like few tropical resorts. So it's hosting the Winter Games because it's near mountains, I guess. But it's like the last few days it's been 60 degrees there and sunny, and there's palm trees that are in full.
Yeah.
So they've
Temperature
been having.
could reach 63 on Thursday.
Ah, that's crazy.
I can't imagine a better way to ruin the Olympics in the winter.
You had one job, Russia. One job.
Be cold. You know?
So, but they're actually having a lot of trouble with some of their outdoor stuff because of the temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah, the snowboarders were complaining, is that
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I think it was the snowboarders.
An American skier, Stacy Cook, said that it was pretty warm snow, and I don't think I adapted to it well. It slides under your ski more. So,
So it's like a different feel.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
I'm
completely
sure, I'm
different.
sure people from like Minnesota or whatever came here for our snow, they would have laughed at what we had.
Yeah.
And wouldn't have been able to.
But it can be a problem. I know I don't ski, but I snowmobile, and you can feel the traction even on a snowmobile. So I'd imagine it's even more
Especially
so.
if it's that hot, it's starting to kind of melt a little bit. Right?
Well, yeah, yeah,
It's
and
getting
it's-
like,
Yeah.
And
Starts to melt
wet.
at like 35 degrees.
right.
And when
So
it
it's
melts,
60.
like, yeah, it transforms not just like the top layer, but it kind of melts into the snow that's still
It's
there. So
slushy.
yeah, it gets really gross.
So $50 billion later, and Russia still failed it.
Which apparently
Hosting the Olympics.
quite a lot of that money went to, like, they've stored tons of cubic feet of snow that, you know, falls and they scoop it up and they've stored it in these, it's really high up in the mountains. It's basically like a reservoir, like a man-made snow reservoir. And they just cover it and keep this snow up there. So they say the organizers, if they got really low on snow, the organizers can like create little mini avalanches to recover the,
Wow.
yeah, it's crazy. And I'm just,
Like of all the places in the world right now that are covered in snow, we're having this
we're
problem.
having the Olympics.
In the tropics. Well, that's not the only problem happening there. Among other things, the snowboarders are complaining about the half pipe.
Yeah.
Apparently it is dangerous, in the snowboarders' words, crappy.
And some call it garbage.
Garbage,
Yeah.
yeah. It needs a lot of work because they hired the wrong folks to do it, whatever that means. It says people who are constructing aren't the greatest at their craft and it makes it challenging for us. Now, I have no idea how to construct a half pipe for snowboarders, but I'm assuming like you have to kind of be an expert.
Yeah, with
So I
like
don't know.
the precise angles and the,
Yeah, so what's going on here that they can't get that right?
I don't know.
It just sounds really silly to me, especially because they do this every 4 years, you know, you'd think they'd have plenty of
Some
time
sort
to
of
pick the right
system or-
people to make this stuff. And that's the second one that they said was dangerous. Sean White actually pulled out of one of the other courses saying that it was too dangerous, the slope style. He said the potential risk of injury is too much for me to gamble with my other Olympic goals. Nobody else pulled out of that one because of that, but I can't remember which one I was watching, but it was like a couple days before the Olympics actually started when they were starting to do some of the runs because I guess they have too many people to actually do it all during the right time. But this guy was doing it with a broken rib that he got there. Yeah. I guess that is
That's
rather
very
dangerous.
A little bit.
And it wasn't just, that's not just snow, that's just like how it was constructed, right?
Yeah, they're talking about like the actual construction of the slopes
That's
being
crazy.
dangerous and not well put together, according to our standards, because these are Americans talking.
Mhm.
So I don't know. if we're-
Maybe we're just snobs when it comes to
We're
snow.
snobs, I don't know. But, you know, we didn't hear this kind of thing the last time
Yeah.
that there was an Olympics, so, I don't know. Get with it, Russia.
Yeah. But otherwise, we're doing pretty good.
What is
As
the
far as
count right now?
medals.
I know Canada was tied for first.
Wait, I'm just making sure this is updated.
There's a great one on Yahoo. Yeah, it's a really nice count.
Looks like Norway's in first place right
Are
now.
they?
Yeah. And we're currently in fourth.
Ahead of us.
The Netherlands, Canada, and Norway. Is the Netherlands a particularly snowy place?
It must be. I don't know.
Norway? Or the Netherlands?
Well, the Netherlands.
I think they both are, yeah.
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 Well,
They're wintry
Norway
locales.
is actually, I believe they hold a record for,
Yeah, usually they're like the head.
and Norway has more gold medals than 100 countries have total medals.
Wow.
That's crazy.
As far as the Winter Olympics go. And we're at number 2.
I'll take number 2.
Sounds good to me. Well, and then another big story just today, I think, happened. Costas, the host, he's given over duties today to Matt Lauer.
Yeah, what's that?
Because his eyes are infected.
It's pretty gross.
I think it was his left one first, and then it spread to both eyes now, and they're like really red. And the first day, he was still on air, like the first couple of days he got infected, and he had to start wearing glasses. And then just yesterday, it like spread to both eyes, and then they're like,
Oh, I feel bad. I was making
Yeah.
fun of his glasses so hard last night.
Yeah,
I was like,
right.
why is he wearing those?
That's
like,
why he's wearing
all
them.
the glasses
Yeah.
he could wear.
It's
Yeah.
a red eye, or pink eye. Not red eye.
So yeah, but it's the first time in like 30 years or some random number that he hasn't been NBC's host of the
Oh,
Olympics.
really?
Yeah,
But he's not happy about that.
yeah. So that should be interesting to see, be a different voice. I'm trying to see if there's anything else interesting. I haven't been super impressed this year.
There was that 15-year-old Russian figure skater that was really awesome. Did you
Yeah.
watch that?
Like, I think the individual athletes have been impressive, but I feel like the coverage and like the event, or like the location and everything, it just hasn't, like, I'm
Well, I
underwhelmed.
feel like it's kind of overshadowed by everybody complaining about everything about it, you know. Before it even
That's
started,
true, yeah.
everyone was on Twitter with the Sochi problems, and it was just sort of.
Although some of them, I mean, if you're spending $50 billion, and that's billion with like a B,
Yeah, I know.
you should be able to open your bathroom door. I'm just, you know, or like the elevators in the hotel should not open to an empty cabin. You know, where athletes who are there specifically to use their bodies could walk into, I mean, it's
Yeah.
some ridiculous stuff.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, I think it's partly, you know, Russia's fault. They decided they were going to do this, they put all this money into it, but then they brought it to a place where maybe,
Couldn't
I don't
handle
know Sochi, but maybe like they're a poorer place, they don't have
But yeah, it was
the
completely,
amenities.
it was
they don't have-
not a like tourist destination. It was like a
Right.
very, very small tourist destination. But it was not set up for this at all. They
Yeah.
like totally built it out. I don't know, I agree, it was not the smartest move on Russia's part.
And I think, I heard that it was chosen in 2007, and that the reason that they got it was because they bid like 3 times as much as the other people who were trying to host it, as far as money, and then they ended up spending way more than they
Yeah,
estimated they would
and
spend.
Putin himself went to the committee and,
Right.
you know, pitched for it, so.
Well, we all know why he wants to,
Yeah.
you know, but at the same time, you know, can't necessarily, I blame them, but I don't necessarily blame, you know, the people in Sochi running these hotels and things, because
No,
what,
yeah.
you know, what are they gonna do?
The organizers, I think the organizers this year have really fallen short of their
Right.
responsibilities.
Yeah.
And then there's a even bigger problem now that they're having, and this is a problem with every Olympics, but the first few days they're having trouble filling the seats.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So when it was held in London and they had trouble filling the seats, what London did was opened up the tickets to their military, the London soldiers. But I read an article yesterday, when London couldn't fill the seats, they were selling about 5 million tickets a day, or total or whatever it was. Russia is selling 800,000 total. It's such a much smaller venue and they still
Wow.
can't fill the seats. And they're saying one of the problems is that people just either don't know how to get to Sochi or can't get there, so that's why they're not filling their seats.
Mhm.
Because they've sold like 80% of the tickets, but people just aren't going. So I thought that was
Is it-
really,
Do you think, because they were making a pretty big deal about the security concerns
Mhm.
was one thing, so
Yeah.
do you think maybe that played a factor in it?
I definitely think
I think so, yeah.
I have this article that says, who is this? Somebody who traveled to Sochi from Colorado. Our daughter says they didn't want us to go, and they're competing. It's fears of security and possible terrorism. I know friends who did cancel because they're worried about it. Another thing says, consider how far it is to get to Sochi, how hard it is, how expensive it is, the lack of quality hotel accommodations, the difficulty getting visas, all the political issues going on in that city, and you realize why a lot of people aren't traveling. But I feel like half of that, like the visa thing, the travel thing, like people did travel to several locations, that are far away to go to other Olympics, so
And I think
it's more than that.
it's definitely more than that. And as far as security goes, I feel like I'd be more concerned being in Russia, the country, and not necessarily Sochi, because there's just so much security at, the Olympic, and the entire Olympic Village, that I don't think I'd be as
That's true.
fearful. But anyway,
I
should be
think
interesting.
it's also like a lack of confidence in their ability to ward off the attacks. If you remember, there was those bombings in December in, where was it? Volgograd, not very far away from where the Olympics was going to be.
Yeah.
And they had a suicide bomber blow herself up in the railway station. They responded with like extra security measures, and then the next day, a suicide bomber succeeded in blowing himself up in the same city. And this is 2 months ago. So if you're in that area, just think about
Yeah,
how that
I
might
wouldn't
change
wanna
your
be in
mind
that
about it.
area.
And then we're also pretty close to Chechnya, where they're having, those issues. Dagestan, that's where the Boston bombers are from. Just like all kinds of stuff like that is going on, not in Sochi, but
Right.
close enough to where, you'd be a little bit worried to be in that area. Like, what if the Olympics were in Lebanon or something? Nothing's actually happening in Lebanon usually, but like right around it is Syria and all this stuff, so I just think about it like that. The risk versus
Yeah.
being
Or
there.
being actually there.
Mhm.
It's a good point. I don't know. I think it's very interesting that they chose Russia, specifically Sochi, and then how unprepared. It just seems like the whole situation was like they planned these things so far in advance. It could have been. This all should have been fixed. I think it's just silly.
Well,
Let's move on. I'm tired of Olympics. That's all we're going to talk about, because it's another week or at least.
I don't know how long
I
it
think that's
goes.
Is it 2 weeks?
I haven't watched much of it. I turned it on a little bit, and they were doing figure skating, so
Not your
Figure
cup of tea.
skating is awesome.
not quite what I was looking for.
What do you like, bobsled?
That's pretty cool. I mean,
I don't know, I like watching the snowboarders.
yeah.
Makes me glad that I have no desire to be a snowboarder. It looks so scary, it's the stuff that they do.
I know, I couldn't do it.
Ridiculous.
That's like I said, I'm not impressed with the organization or a lot of that, but the athletes, every time I tune in,
Yeah,
it's just
they're amazing.
even everything from figure skating to even the, what's the one that we were just talking about?
Curling.
Curling. I think that's kind
Whoa,
of
who
impressive.
said I don't like it?
Your tone
That's the
betrays my
one
brain.
he's tuning into tonight, curling.
Yeah, I've got curling on DVR.
Oh, wow.
I don't have DVR. Okay. should we talk about other things then?
Sure.
Okay, I know you guys have seen this, so let's just talk about this quick. What do you think about the dumb Starbucks thing?
You know, I'd heard about it, but I hadn't like looked into it. I just like read about it today. I don't like what were they even doing that would have made it different?
Apparently,
Matter, they got shut down already, right?
yeah, for health code reasons. They
Yeah.
didn't have
Which is
any
ironic.
permits. Apparently, he considered this guy who launched this considered it performance art.
Mhm.
So it's like an exact replica of a Starbucks store, except in front of the word Starbucks is dumb. I just thought it was the most like dumb thing to do. It was like, to me, it's just rude and inconsiderate. I detested it, and they just, they put people who work at Starbucks, like the corporate people, into a tough position, because how do you respond to that without, completely destroying your company? I just thought it was the jerkiest thing I'd seen in a long time. And then to get shut down over health code, like, because he didn't have permits, which
Yeah.
and then he goes, gets all cocky about, well, it was performance art, so we didn't go, we just didn't want permits.
Well,
And I just thought,
That's
He
ridiculous,
said it was
you're
like
still
a-
selling food.
food, yeah.
Yeah.
And people lined up to get it, but they were giving away coffee for free.
Yeah.
I thought it really frustrated me.
Mhm.
Oh, is that why they had the lines? I thought it was just because people were
Yeah,
so
if
interested
you
in
saw
going
pictures,
there.
there were like lines all the way around
Yeah.
this little mall that they were in, and the reason was because they were giving away the food for free.
Okay.
Yeah.
But what made it dumb?
Made it dumb.
Because
Well, I
I
think
read it
he's-
was like a parody of some sort.
Yeah, so I think
what-
he's just calling the Starbucks situation dumb, like that you go pay. I don't know. That's part of why I think it was so rude. It's just because I don't know. To me, Starbucks is not just a coffee shop. It's like a place you go.
Yeah.
Like McDonald's to me is a restaurant. You don't go to McDonald's to go to McDonald's, but you go to Starbucks to go to Starbucks, and part of that is so I don't mind paying $4 for a cup of coffee because I'm going to sit there for 3 hours, use their internet,
Yeah.
and stay, be in the space.
Absolutely.
So to me, it's like almost like a rental fee.
Yeah.
So I just
And all coffee shops, it's not just Starbucks that
Yeah.
charges that much money for coffee.
exactly.
But places like that, they give you free Wi-Fi, they assume you're gonna stay there for a while, they have all these outlets set up for computers,
Yeah.
like they expect it. And it's, it's better than sitting in a cubicle at the library, so you go and you pay your $5 or whatever.
And if you see it, like, you'd think you were in a Starbucks if you didn't
Right,
look at the
yeah.
logo. It was just blatant rip-off to me. It was not art in any sense of the word. That's my 2 cents.
I feel like he just wanted to get his little
Yeah.
bit on all of the media sites and then.
All I know is I gotta go find this name because I will. Nathan Fielder. I will never watch anything with him. He's on my list.
He made fun of Starbucks.
Well, to me, it's not just making fun of Starbucks, but I mean, okay, that's people's like life work.
Yeah.
He took something that, a lot of people conduct business at Starbucks, and a lot of people, to me, it's kind of a cultural thing now. It's kind of becoming like almost our new like public meeting space. And a lot of people work hard and breathe life into that for a long time. And he just called it dumb to be kind of a jerk to
Right.
get attention. Like, it's one thing if
Yeah.
you want to send a message or, but he just wanted attention. I think that's just the lowest
Yeah.
of the low. Anyways, don't call Starbucks dumb. We will talk about you on this podcast like it's 10 people.
Speaking of coffee, though, there's an article here, why the best time to drink coffee is not the first thing in the morning.
Really?
Yeah.
When did I say the best time is?
Well, let's see. The peak production of cortisol, which is, like it's related to our circadian clock. When we feel awake, when we feel tired, the peak production of that is between 8 and 9 a.m. under normal circumstances, it says.
Between
So
8 and 9?
8 and 9 a.m.
Okay.
So this means that at the time that many people are having their first cup of coffee on the way to work, their bodies are actually naturally caffeinating most effectively. So by consuming caffeine when it's not needed, your body will build a faster tolerance to it, and the buzz you get will greatly diminish. So, computer. Times of peak cortisol levels in most people are between 8 and 9 a.m., 12 and 1 p.m., and 5:30 and 6:30 p.m. Therefore, timing your coffee breaks between 9:30 and 11:30 and 1:30 and 5 o'clock Takes advantage of the dips in your cortisol levels when you need a boost the most.
Ooh,
Need
can
a
you
boost
send
the
that
most.
to me?
Yes, I can.
It's not like I'm not
Chelsea's a
constantly
coffee
drinking it
drinker,
like
yeah.
100% of the time, so it won't make a difference.
Yeah.
but-
You know, I find that interesting. Coffee, if you don't know, coffee, like the coffee trade is just one of the fastest growing industries right now. And coffee is going even as fast as the industry is expanding, the cost of coffee is increasing just as quickly
Mhm.
because there's so much demand for it.
Yeah.
I think it's very interesting. I think our lives are just so busy. We've reached a point where each person, like from the organizations they volunteer for to the company they work for, each part of that expects so much that people are just, even if they're being naturally caffeinated at 8 o'clock in the morning, the first thing they're doing is pouring caffeine in. Because they're only getting like 4 hours of sleep and they're working 20 hours. It's crazy to me to see some people's schedule. I thought I had a hectic schedule, but I mean, I've seen some of the students here that are doing a couple activities and school. It's just amazing.
Yeah. So don't drink your coffee first thing in the morning.
Okay.
Unless you're super tired.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Well, what if it's like before 8?
Yeah. What
Is
about
that okay? I have a problem.
I think it's
There's
okay.
a little helpful infographic here. It's like you wake up, don't drink coffee right away, but then drink coffee later. There's actually lots of infographics.
Wow, there's a huge infographic.
Yeah, 9:30 to 11, and then 1:30 to 5, coffee time.
Hmm. Interesting.
I'll see if it works.
Okay. What else do we got here?
Do we want to talk about that giraffe?
No.
Let's finish with the draft, because we're almost out of time. anyways.
Gosh.
Let's talk about it, because it was a big story this week. It got,
Why would they do
It
that?
got like international attention.
Yeah.
So, okay, for those of you who don't know, do you want to tell the story, Chelsea?
No, it makes me.
Okay, so a zoo in, of course I've forgotten where the zoo was. Do you remember where?
Yes.
Someplace.
Okay, well, there's this.
Copenhagen, right?
Copenhagen, yeah, I think you're right.
Yes.
A zoo in Copenhagen, no, I can't think Copenhagen.
Copenhagen.
A zoo had a giraffe that they had bred in their zoo. So it was, captive giraffes had bred this little baby giraffe and they'd grown up a little ways. And I'm not sure the decision-making process because I'm not a zoologist, but apparently the giraffe was deemed unacceptable for continued breeding, and so it was taking up resources, and the zoo decided that it was unnecessary. So they didn't transfer it. They didn't, what they decided to do with this unnecessary giraffe was make almost like a lesson out of it. So they killed the giraffe.
Yeah,
and
they shot it.
They shot it with a bolt
Yeah.
into its brain.
Yes,
So
the 18-month-old giraffe was leaning down to eat rye bread, one of his favorite snacks, when
So
the vet pulled the
sad.
trigger.
Okay.
Don't read it like that.
But, yeah,
Now I
thanks.
just want to cry.
The way and I'm kind of defending this because I feel like I'm the only one here, but the way they decided to kill it was a bolt, and that's because there's no pain, so it's an instantaneous death. So it's favorite snack. By the way, we're gonna pause the story here and let me ask Pete.
It was his favorite,
I'd
Dylan.
like a scientific answer. How did they know that the giraffe's favorite snack was?
It was the one he
That's
ate the
what they
most.
give it to him all the time.
Yeah, they give it to him all the time, and it's the one he eats the most. Could that be because they give it to him all the time?
Okay.
Okay, anyways.
Whatever.
It was his personal
It was a
preference.
snack.
That was his personal. Anyway, so he was eating, they killed him. However, it doesn't just end there. So, to not waste the animal, what the zoo ended up doing was giving portions of the body they fed to the other mammals in the zoo. And then they had, this is where it gets really bad. I think this is why it caught so much attention, is because the zoo had children there to watch as they
Yeah.
distributed.
They did it for
Yeah.
educational purposes. They
Yes.
were like, hey kids, watch us rip apart a giraffe.
Yeah, I think that might have
I'm
been a
sorry,
mistake.
that is over the top. I would have flipped out.
So I think
Not okay.
while it's unfortunate and it's kind of sad, who doesn't like giraffes? They're cool animals. I think there's nothing necessarily wrong with it, so I don't see.
Why
I don't
didn't they
see
just
the
release
problem.
it into the wild to have the wild animals
Because it's
eat
not
it?
trained to survive. Okay, but here's the rub.
Did they
honestly.
call all the zoos and be
Right.
like, hey, do you need a giraffe?
Well, and the other thing they said was they wouldn't allow it to go to another zoo because of inbreeding dangers.
What does that mean?
So, well, the giraffes are protected animals, and so the zoos all across the world,
Protected enough, apparently.
zoos all across the world work together to breed strong, healthy giraffes, so that they do trade, like, and blah blah blah. So I don't know why they couldn't have just given it to a zoo for non-breeding purposes, but they chose not to do that. I don't see anything wrong. I think it was
I
unwise
think
to
you
have the
shouldn't kill an
students.
animal for no reason other than it can't breed. Then just put it in a cage by itself or something. You don't have to kill it.
But then, so
That's
you have to
sad.
go to what is, see, and this is why we shouldn't talk about this, because we're out of time. But if you put an animal that has no purpose in a cage, I think that's almost worse than killing it.
Okay, well, then can't you just spay and neuter it or whatever? Then
She
it
has a
can't
point,
breed.
Dylan.
Well, that's another expense and it's a
I
continued
don't
expense.
care.
So, but why are you so opposed to the animal? Because your other option was to release it into the wild where it would just eat.
Well, at least it would be natural and not.
But we don't even know.
Science
We don't even
experiment.
know if that giraffe could go into the wild and survive on its own for any amount of time. So it wouldn't just have an instantaneous death. What would happen would he'd go into the wild, starve for a few days until a tiger came across him and he couldn't even run away.
Okay, fine. I don't like that option. I like the neuter the thing option and let it live. And
So see, but we're so, this is why I don't like it. I think we've gotten to such a civilized point in our society that the idea that a baby giraffe, and it wasn't a baby, a young giraffe,
18-month-old.
an
if it was a
18-month-old
human, it would have been a baby.
Okay, and there's another, and I had a friend who on Facebook posted about this. The world cries outrage when we kill an 18-month-old giraffe, yet how many unborn babies do we allow?
Well,
To be
I
aborted.
fully agree with
So-
that, but I mean, that doesn't mean
But
that
you
I
see-
don't feel bad about this baby giraffe, too.
I guess there's no way to disargue it. I don't see anything wrong with it. I fully support the zoo.
So if a human being, doesn't have the ability to reproduce, would you say, oh?
No, a human being doesn't just have one singular purpose on the planet.
Yeah, but the giraffe is cute and it's at the zoo.
Look at
and
it.
people
Look
are
at how
going,
adorable it is. It's
"Oh,
looking at the
look
camera.
him,
It's like,
look
hey,
at
what's
him,
up?
look
How's
at
it
him,
going?
right there.
Talk
Look
to
at him,
me.
Dylan. Look at that
Dylan,
baby
I
giraffe.
think
Would you
he's
have shot that
looking
baby
into your
giraffe?
eyes.
It's a beautiful giraffe. I have no, and I wouldn't shoot it in the head, no. But what I'm saying is, I'm also not a zoologist who knows, perhaps.
Dylan hates baby giraffes. That's what we've learned today on the podcast.
Just in case you all needed another reason to wonder about Dylan, he also hates baby giraffes.
I think there's something wrong with society, just saying. And I think
Society
this
is wrong.
situation very clearly.
Let us know on Facebook which side you agree with.
Yeah,
Attack us in the comments on
obviously,
Facebook.
if you agree with Dylan, you're wrong, but you
Yeah.
can go ahead and voice your opinion anyway.
Obviously. All right, let's shut this thing down.
All right.
So we don't really have a look ahead because we're still suffering from website outage. But this will be up tomorrow or Thursday. Usually depends on how long it takes us to do all the work that comes after our staff meeting. And it will be on our Facebook and our YouTube channel and maybe our Tumblr. And our website we expect to be up and running by the end of the week. Other than that, if you guys have questions, always email us or comment in the sections on YouTube, Facebook, and everything, and we will read them. Thanks again. Say bye.
Bye.
Did you do anything?
Yes, I did.